So, I want to give a little update about the theory about leadership. It's coming right along. So, essentially, leadership is alignment, it's trajectory alignment. Or I guess you could say direction matching. It's when it's like everybody's moving in different directions all the time. And in order to move in the same direction, in order to stay together, you have to match your trajectories, match your alignment. And so I'm thinking a lot about domination in leadership because I'm not sure I'm going to use that word domination. In fact, I probably won't. It's more like being really assertive leadership. I think that I might get this a little. There are two sort of environments where leadership can happen. One of them is a chaotic environment. It's an environment where there are no leaders yet. And then there's another environment that is not chaotic, and that's because there is already leadership. And generally speaking, if you're going to lead in a chaotic environment, it means that you have to be really assertive on the trajectory that you want to lead in. So it's like if you, for example, okay, so the main context in which I'm thinking about this is obviously romantic relationships and all, but also just normal human dynamics. I think that when you approach a woman on the street as a man, or really just approach anyone that you don't know ever, it is an offer of leadership. Usually, it's we are moving in different directions, not literally physically, but in terms of our purpose and direction in life. And what you do when you approach somebody is you stop them and you offer them leadership. You offer them an opportunity to align their trajectory with yours. And if it's an environment, so I think the obvious dichotomy here for the chaotic and not chaotic environments, the obvious example would be a private party versus talking to someone on a street, or in an environment where nobody knows each other, like a club or bar. And in a private party, because everyone is already there under at the behest of someone else, they've been invited, there's approval for them to be there. Is already a leadership usually, and I think that's why it's so much easier to meet people at private parties, is because there's already leadership. And likewise the opposite, if you're meeting someone on the street or at a club or a bar where there is no commonality between you, then there is no leadership. And so I think when it's a chaotic system, there is no leadership, yet you have to be assertive. You can't actually offer it like a question. Do you want me to lead you? You have to take the lead without asking for it. And the reason for that is because of what leadership is. I think you could probably, it's just like you, if you offered someone leadership, do you want me to lead you? What that would constitute is bad leadership. And sure, they might actually take you up on the offer if there's extenuating circumstances, but for normal day-to-day interactions, if you're not, really the only thing that you can offer somebody who doesn't know you is the opportunity to move in a direction that they already want to move in. So say if you stop someone on the street and they want to talk to you for some reason, they think you're attractive or whatever, then in order to do that, you have to be assertive. You have to take the lead, not ask for it. And because it's your job as a leader to make it easier for your followers to follow. And it's not your job as a leader to actually choose the direction that you are going to move in. I think that's actually a negotiation. You negotiate that with your followers, but what you do have to do is make the initial sacrifice, put up the effort by asserting instead of requesting. Because a request doesn't take any effort. It doesn't. There's no risk in a request, but there is risk in the assertion. And so, in order to do it well, you have to assert it. You can't ask for it. And it's an interesting dynamic. I haven't actually totally teased it out yet, but I do feel like what I'm describing is real. I don't think that. Let me finish talking about it. And then there's this interesting follow-up dynamic where once you've asserted leadership and people have agreed to follow you, what you're doing is you are paving the way for them to move in a direction that they already want to move in. You get the benefit of their followership, the closeness, the intimacy, whatever it is you're seeking. In a romantic context, it would be closeness and intimacy. But in another context, it might just be like the fact that they are giving you their attention or supporting you with money or whatever. It can be any of those things. But you get that benefit as a leader, and then they, as the follower, get the benefit of not needing to pave their own way to get the thing that they want. You've already paved it for them. You've made it easier for them. And there's this interesting dynamic where I think once you have initiated, once you have asserted leadership and someone has agreed to follow you, you can't ever give them a choice again, which is an interesting dynamic. I'm still trying to figure out how exactly this works, but it's like they have put their trust in you as a leader to pave the way for them. And by giving them a choice again, You've actually sort of forsaken their trust, or at least you have abandoned them as followers. I don't want you to follow me anymore. Now I want us to be equals again. I'm no longer doing you this service where it's easier for you to follow me. And that's a super interesting dynamic. But I think it's real. I think it's true. It's only on the trajectory though that you're leading. And so obviously in a romantic context that would be like the mutual sort of interest and tension between you. And I'm not sure what it would be in other contexts yet. I'm definitely going to be polishing and working on this a lot more. But so this was a breakthrough that I had, and this feels really good, which is that in the positive negative ratio that I talk about in my romance theory, that is the optimal human relationship. When you want to have a minimum amount of negative interactions, the initiation for leadership doesn't count as a negative. It actually, the only way it could count as a negative is if you force someone to accept your leadership, force your leadership on them. Otherwise, it's always their choice to follow or not. And also, they have the ability to negotiate if they want to move in a different direction than the direction that you have initiated for them to follow. So, at worst, if they do not accept your leadership, it is a neutral. And at best, if they do accept your leadership, it's actually positive. It's actually skewing the ratio in a positive direction where you probably need to add in another negative interaction to balance it out, to make it favorable again. And I don't know, I'm still working on that because so all of this together is what I'm working on. And I think it feels right. It also feels like incredibly backwards in terms of the way to think about it. It's not, I definitely don't think this is the right way to describe it or think about it. I think it's true, it's real. I'm describing something real, but I don't think it's the best yet. So I'm going to keep working on it. Definitely feel like there's a long way to go with this. But also, just this knowledge that the initiation of leadership is at worst neutral is extremely powerful knowledge. This totally changes the game. I feel like it's definitely not the right way to think about it because when I think of it that way, I don't feel like it gives me any sort of insights into how to act in order to be a better leader. It's kind of a very abstract sort of data point that I can use in retrospect, but not really while I am acting. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. I'm pretty excited about it. Honestly, it's huge. It's a really big detail, that a really big piece of the puzzle, I think. So I'm gonna keep working on it, and definitely more to come on this.